Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Daryl, South Alabama has hope in this. First time the two teams have played in the history of this series, which is exciting. This is a big game for South Alabama. They have an opportunity to really make a statement in the state. They won some favor over by, not rolling over against Tulane a week ago and making that a closer game than everybody predicted. And they're going to have an opportunity to prove, hey, we're a legitimate threat in the state when it comes to college football. They have that chance. They have that opportunity. And rightfully so, they're excited about it. They should be. Nobody's pushing back on that. Auburn needs to say, you can be excited, but we're going to take all of that hope away from you very, very quickly as soon as the ball is kicked off. And that will be a different trend than how Auburn has started their first two games. Auburn needs to start fast, make this a boring game quickly, and to the point where South Alabama looks up, there's a bunch of screaming fans at Jordan-Hare Stadium, and it's like, oh my goodness, we're halfway through the first quarter, and we're down 2 scores. That needs to be Auburn's goal in this. Start fast, start consistently, start strong, and at that point, the game will be in hand, and we don't have to worry about any of these narratives of, oh, Auburn played with their food, Auburn played down to their level of competition. Get all that out of here. Get all of that out of here. Auburn needs to kill their will quickly.
Look, I said this in the earlier in the week. There are not Sun Belt teams are not intimidated coming into state. They're just not. They expect to win. They expect to win.
It's a big deal for them.
South Alabama beat Mississippi State a couple years ago. Troy had Clemson on the ropes. Teams like Louisiana, which used to be Louisiana Lafayette, they expect to win. You know what App State has done. It's documented. They've beat North Carolina. So look, you cannot take this game lightly. Think of it as an FCS opponent. Even think of it as a Ball State who is completely overmatched. They have better athletes. At the end of the day, South Alabama has better athletes than Ball State. At the end of the day, though, Auburn just needs to worry about Auburn and be Auburn. They've got more depth. They've got more talent. And at the end of the day, that will, I think, play itself out. But I agree with you. You don't want to start slow and let a team like this believe in themselves and have them hanging around. If you can get a couple quick hitters, get a couple 3-and-outs, and then you score on the backside of those 3-and-outs, then doubt starts to creep in. And they're like, well, maybe we are in over our heads a little bit. Belief is a strong thing, man, and you know that. And if you go into halftime down 14-7, you're like, hey, we're one. You cannot. You have to take their hope, their heart, and their soul. And then when you're up, don't fool around, like you said, and play with your food. Knockout punch, step on the throat, all the cliches that you want to use. Put it out of reach. It's not going to be easy. But if Auburn plays at the level they're capable of playing at and worries about Auburn, and focuses on Auburn, they should. It's if the turnovers that happen, if Auburn makes self-inflicting wounds, if Auburn comes out flat and not motivated and hyped because they think they can just roll the ball out there and win because who they are, then you're going to have an issue. And so I hope Hugh Freeze has really cultivated an environment this week and shown clip after clip after clip. I would indoctrinate that team with Georgia State, New Mexico State highlights until they wanted to stick their finger down their throat and throw up. I would have them just really, really feeling that, okay, look, there are people that still think that South Alabama, this is the old Auburn, that we lost to New Mexico, that kind of thing. Just whatever you have to do. And then show the Sun Belt is viable and make sure they understand that.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Sun Belt as a conference is underrated. I think South Alabama does some things really well. There are certain matchups that Auburn should dominate. Both sides of the line of scrimmage, Auburn's receivers versus South Alabama's defensive backs. A lot of young guys that have some upside, but they're raw. You should take advantage of that. I mean, to me, I think a lot of what they do, especially defensively, is like it's like a not as good Baylor. And so attack them the same way you attacked Baylor. Get this game over by the third quarter, and then let's start focusing on Oklahoma, because that's really where this thing gets going.
there's two components of this too that we don't know until game time. That is a big, big storyline for South Alabama. Their two best defensive players, the linebacker Myrick and then Goodwin, and I don't know where he plays, both got hurt early against Tulane. Myrick with a head injury and did not come back in the game.
According to, in the crossover yesterday, Schultz does not think that they're expected to play.
Yeah, and Applewhite is being very coy about it, saying they're day-to-day. It's hopeful that they play. That's exactly what he's going to say. It needs to say.
Sure.
Because Auburn – but if Myrick and Goodwin don't play, it's going to be even more difficult from a South Alabama defense that's giving up a lot of points.
Mm-hmm.
They're very, very good players, and they're a key. I mean, Myrick is supposedly this preseason favorite for Sun Belt Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. So we'll see. I don't know. A head injury is a little bit, do you want to risk playing two of your best defensive players in a non-conference money game on the road when you've got Sun Belt games coming up?
Yeah. I mean, it's important as far as like what it could do emotionally and for your program, but the game's not important for you winning your conference. And so we'll see how they handle all of that. Our final picks, our final predictions, and we'll kind of throw out a few other questions in there about Deuce Night next, right here on Locked on Auburn.